All right. As a business owner, I'm sure you're familiar with getting lots of emails, probably on a daily basis, most of which are spam or not relevant to you. And then the ones that are relevant can be easy to miss, long and wordy. And it can be really difficult and time consuming to go through all your emails and find the important tasks, things to follow up with. Not to mention just the notification popping up on your computer can be pretty distracting and interrupt some focus that you may have going already. So I've built this automation to it essentially goes through your and reads your email. It uses an AI to understand what the email is about. And then if it decides based on the prompt that you give it, if the email is an important task or something that you need to follow up with, something like that, then it automatically connects and makes a task for you to do inside of your task management system. So there's quite a few softwares that you can connect it to, and also email platforms depending on what email platform you use already. But yeah, so to get into it, you'll come over to make.com. It'll look something like this. You can obviously get, like it says here, start a free account. And then once you log in, you'll be brought to a page. I don't have it open here. A dashboard like this. And then you can select create new scenario, and you'll be brought to an empty page like this. So once we're done, it will look something like this. You won't have these top ones here, but I use Notion just as an example, and then Gmail. I'm sure most of you guys are using Outlook and OneDrive, but my example is using Gmail. And then the task management system you have, you connect it to the end, which I'll get a little bit into later, but it's not too much work at all. So getting started, you'll be prompted to drag in an initial block. So in my case, I'm doing email, which you could also do Outlook. And then we're going to do the watch messages, or watch emails in this case. So for connecting a Google account, it's actually can be a little bit complicated. That's why I have this other window open here. So connect, you can do either Microsoft or a Google restricted, which if you click right here on this link, it has actually really good instructions to go through and connect your Google account. You do have to go over to Google Cloud and make a project inside of there, but it walks you through all the steps right here. I'm going to skip this just for the sake of time, but yeah, it's not too hard to do. Just follow these directions. If you have any questions, just drop them below. But for now, we're going to go through and select the folder. I'm just going to select all mail and then leave most of this blank. Yeah, we're just going to leave pretty much everything blank here. We'll do all emails in the criteria, but everything else is optional. We select OK, and then we'll just do from now on. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to use OpenAI, the ChatGPT, probably familiar, or at least heard of it. What we're going to do is to create a completion or a prompt. It'll pop up here. You actually have to go to, let me open Safari again. I'll show you that as well when you're first. So it'll initially look like this. So create a connection. You will have to go over to just search OpenAI API key. So this essentially lets you connect to your OpenAI or ChatGPT through an API key. So you just click on this first link right here. You'll be brought to this page. Should be able to sign in somewhere. Maybe it's here. Yeah. So it should be production best practices or something like this. When you sign in, you'll be brought to a page that looks something like this. We'll need to go up to dashboard, and then on the left over here, select API keys, and then you can generate an API key, name it, and then it will give you a long string of characters, your secret key. So you don't want to share these keys with any API key, and in fact, you don't want to share. But it'll give you this, which you can go over here, select create connection, and then enter your key here. That's essentially it for that step. So here. Then for this one, we can do really any of them work for this sake, but we'll do 4.0 mini just because it's faster, and limit it to like 30 characters or tokens. These are just how they measure the individual characters being outputted in the output in the system. So we can select, actually add a message here, and then we'll use an assistant, and then the message content. So this is essentially when you go to ChatGPT, the prompt that you're typing in here is this message content that we're entering here. So what we're going to want to do is, I have this posted, so there's a link to it in the description, but you can come over here and the email to-do list. We're going to grab this first prompt, the sorting. So we'll copy this, come back over here, paste it here. So essentially what this is doing is just telling ChatGPT to act like a personal assistant. You're just examining the email and determining if there's anything important for you to do. You can kind of add a lot more to this depending on your specific needs, what kind of emails you're getting, and then even list specific people that you want to filter by. Add some common tasks, just examples, so it's familiar with the kind of things it's looking for, and then even add some things you might not want to add. So you could say like ignore these types of emails that include keywords such as these or whatever. But what this is doing is it looks at the email, determines if it's a task based on the criteria you give it here, and then here I'm just saying to respond with either the word task or ignore. So this just lets us set up a filter, which you can see right here in the example I have done. It looks at the result given from ChatGPT, and then if the result is the word task, then it continues, which we'll get into in a minute. But if it doesn't, then it just skips the email entirely, and that's what you want. So you'll see here at the bottom, it says drag in the block. So this, we're actually going to click. If you just click, it pops up. If it doesn't, you'll go and click on this star icon, and it lets you select. This is pulling from this email. So whenever a new email pops in, it selects the email and it has all the information from that email. So you can see the things like headers, subject line in here somewhere, text content, subject right here. So we're going to do text content. This just pulls all the content from the email, the inside of the email, not the subject line, which we're going to examine, the ChatGPT is going to examine. And then from there, we can just select OK. And then what we're going to do is add another module, the same thing, OpenAI, and then complete the prompt. So this should already autofill like it's doing on mine now, since you have the API key. So this will actually do a GPT 4.0, since we're getting a little bit more of a response than just a word. And then max tokens, we could do like 1048 or something like that. Really just 1,000. It doesn't really matter too much. You just want to make sure you're not limiting it and cutting off any of the response it's giving you, but the response shouldn't be too long in the first place, because we're going to select add message again, add another assistant. And then the message content here, I again have it listed over here. This again, you can kind of fix to your liking. I'm basically saying, look at the email, and you're basically going to summarize the email and then make a description for a task. So you can put in, kind of change these keywords, put in the software you're using. I just have Asana here as an example, but yeah, it's basically just telling ChatGPT to summarize the email, create a task for you to go back to later, and then rank it depending on how urgent it thinks it is. You can add more here just to go over and say how urgent different things are, depending on who sent in the email, what the email's about, things like that. And then you can change these to say, today, later today, this morning, something like that. But we'll copy and paste this. And then we're gonna do the same thing, dragging the same block. So now you see we get the OpenAI, which we don't need any of, but we're gonna drag in the same email text content. So it's just looking at the email again, and now it's actually creating a task. So before we forget, you'll see this little tool icon in between the ChatGPT blocks. We're gonna select this and then set up a filter. So we're gonna base it off of the result from the first ChatGPT block, and then you'll set equal to, and then task is, I believe, what I called it. So if you go back over here and look at the first block, so we say respond with the word task. So if you change this, make sure to change this filter. But if ChatGPT responds with the word task, then it will continue to this block, which summarizes the email, and this response from this block will be the task going into your task management system. So for me, I'm going to do Notion, since I already have it linked. I'll do create a database item, and then I'll do a database ID, which I'm just gonna go grab from here because I already have it. But you can link, like I've kind of dragged out some other examples here. I don't have an account for any of these, I don't think, but you can kind of connect your accounts here and add, whether it's a task in ClickUp, a card in Trello, or a task in Asana. You can kind of connect whatever platform you're using, or just use something like Notion to manage your task with. So I don't think I copied that. There we go. This task is not optional, so this is the main thing that's going in there, the description kind of, which we're going to give the third block, you see right there, the result from that third block. So that is the response that ChatGPT is giving when it's looking at the email again for the second time, and then giving back the result. So the rest of this I'm just going to leave blank. You can kind of set this up, depend on the system you're using and whether you want to add other kind of notes or whatever else that you go and log in your task management system. So after this, we're pretty much done. I can go and test this actually. So if I go and send myself an email, a little weird to do, but just for the purpose of testing. something like this. I'm just making this up, just to test it. But yeah, maybe common email. Not really, but yeah. We'll just see, test this. We'll send this, and then we can go over here and select run once. That's not good. Oh, save it. That would be good. Don't know why this isn't working. Okay, maybe that works. Yeah, okay. Save that and then run once. We'll see. Okay, so you see it went all the way through. And then if I actually go into my Notion, we can go to my database and see that it populated here. So it ranked it as urgent, and then whatever it summarized this email as the main task to be. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can get pretty creative with you could filter this and have ChatGPT give you a time and a date, which I could add in here when it's due, or even add the, I think I have it in here. No. Like an urgency type of thing. So if you can sort tasks based on when you need them done by, you can add the date, or you could add, I have it here just giving it to me in text, but you could give it to it, have ChatGPT sort it like this, and then connect it to edit the database item and add the urgency, the date, whatever. So this is a pretty just simple example, but get pretty creative. And yeah, that's essentially it. If you have any questions, drop them below. If you want one, feel free to book a meeting if you don't want to do this on your own. And yeah, have a good day.